Amara Okafor adjusted her sleek bun for the 5th time that morning and whispered a quiet prayer. The glass door read Hanyuri Fertility Center, but the waiting area felt more like a fashion show than a clinic. She sat upright, knees together, fall balanced on her lap like a shield. Across from her, 3 women whispered behind manicured fingers. Seriously? They're letting street girls do surrogacy now, one said. Amara smiled faintly. Good morning, she greeted. They blinked, startled that she dared reply. Sweetheart, this isn't a shelter, another sneered. Amara's voice stayed calm. Don't worry. If they ever open one, I'll recommend you. Your attitude clearly needs a roof. The nurse at the counter bit back a laugh. Amara lowered her gaze and added softly, Sorry, Ma. Just joking. Respect first, joke second, that was her rule. Her phone buzzed. Westside Hospital reminder. Outstanding payment for Marilyn Okafor's surgery due in 3 days. Her chest tightened. 3 days. That was all the time left to save her sister's legs. Number 27, Hanamara Okafor, the receptionist called. She rose quickly. Yes, Ma. Her voice trembled, but her steps did not. Inside the consultation room sat a doctor, 2 nurses, and a tall man facing the window. Ms. Okafor, the doctor said kindly. Please sit. She bowed slightly. Thank you, sir. The man turned, removing his cap. Her heart nearly stopped. She knew that face from billboards and every sports headline. Han Min-jae, Seoul Titans quarterback, national heartthrob. In person, he looked less perfect, more human, but his eyes held a quiet intensity that made her forget how to blink. Good morning, he said, voice low. Amara nodded quickly. Morning, sir. I mean, Mr. Han. Or good morning. His lips twitched. Min-jae is fine. The doctor continued. Mr. Han has chosen private surrogacy. We've reviewed your records. Healthy, educated, no chronic issues. Do you have any questions? Yes, Amara said. Just to confirm, payment is made after conception? Yes, the doctor replied. Half up front once you sign. She exhaled in relief. Min-jae studied her. You really need this money, don't you? Amara met his eyes. Need is an understatement, sir. My sister's life depends on it. Silence filled the room. Then he said quietly, I want to add a clause. Everyone looked up. I want natural conception. Welcome to Munlyt Stories, where Munlyt meets myth. Love timeless tales? Then hit like, subscribe, please leave us a comment as we would love to know where you are watching from and join the circle. Every story begins with you. The pen in Amara's hand froze. Natural! He nodded once. No lab, no needles. Just us. Her voice came out steady, though her pulse screamed. Then I can't sign, sir. Min-jae's brows lifted slightly. You're refusing $100,000? She smiled sadly. Money can buy comfort, not self-respect. She stood, bowed, and gathered her file. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope you find someone suitable. And she walked out, head high, heartbreaking, whispering the same quiet prayer. Lord, give me another way to save Marilyn. The bus ride home was silent except for the hum of traffic and the heavy beat of Amara's thoughts. She stared at the city passing by, the towers, the screens, the lives moving faster than her courage. $100,000 could have saved her sister, but she had walked away. She pressed her hand to her chest, whispering, God, tell me I did right. Her phone buzzed again. Hospital billing. 2 days left for payment confirmation. She bit her lip. 2 days. At home, the room smelled of antiseptic and hope. Marilyn lay on the bed, smiling weakly. Sis, you look like you lost a fight. Amara forced a laugh. Maybe I did, but I still look cute, right? Marilyn chuckled. Always. Amara sat beside her. Just rest. I'll fix this. I promise. Her sister reached for her hand. You always do. That night, Amara prayed longer than usual, then fell asleep in her chair. The alarm at dawn startled her awake. She dressed neatly and went to the cafe for her morning shift. Between orders, she checked her phone for freelance jobs, scholarship alerts, anything. Nothing came through. Her break barely started when an unknown number appeared on the screen. Hello, she answered softly. Ms. Okafor, a familiar voice said. Her spine stiffened. Mr. Han. It's Min Jae, he corrected. I shouldn't be calling, but I wanted to apologize. I didn't mean to offend you yesterday. Amara's tone stayed polite. No offense taken, sir. You have your standards. I just have my boundaries. He paused, as if the calm in her voice surprised him. Would you meet me this evening? Just to talk. No conditions. She hesitated. Talk. Yes. I want to explain something before you make your final decision. Her pulse quickened. All right, sir. Where? Grand Myrie Hotel. Suite 1609. She almost dropped her phone. That sounds expensive. It's private, he said simply. After her shift, she went home to change. She put on a modest cream dress, retied her sleek bun, and looked at her reflection. You're not going there as prey, she told herself. You're going as a woman with sense. When she arrived, the hallway smelled faintly of roses and money. She knocked once. The door opened to Min Jae, casual in a black shirt, sleeves rolled up. Come in, he said quietly. The suite was lit softly, candles and flowers arranged on the table. Amara frowned. Sir, this looks like a proposal scene. He smiled slightly. Maybe it is. Sit, please. She obeyed, hands folded. I asked for natural conception because the doctor said I'm sterile, he confessed. But that night, something changed. My body reacted for the first time in years. You were there. Her eyes widened. You mean? Yes, he said. I don't want a transaction. I want a chance to feel human again. She swallowed hard. And if I agree, then your sister's surgery happens tonight. Her gaze fell to the contract on the table. Her trembling hand reached for the pen. Slow, steady, deliberate. For Marilyn, she whispered, and signed. The signature was still wet when Amara set the pen down. The air in the room thickened with silence. She didn't meet Min Jae's eyes. She only pressed her palms together like she was ending a prayer. It's done, sir. You can call the hospital now. Min Jae reached for his phone and made the transfer instantly. The faint buzz of a notification came from her device a second later. $100,000 received. Amara's chest trembled. Thank you, she said quietly. You've just saved my sister's legs. He looked at her, searching for joy in her tone, but found only calm gratitude. No greed. No performance. Just a woman who meant her words. You're not curious why I chose you, he asked. I assume it's because I smell nice, she replied without thinking. His brow lifted, surprised, then laughter escaped him, warm and genuine. You heard that? I hear everything, sir, she said, smiling faintly. Selective hearing, it's my only talent. Her humor lightened the tension, but he could sense her caution beneath it. You can call me Min Jae, he repeated. She bowed her head slightly. Okay, Min Jae SSI. He smiled at the respectful suffix. Better. He opened a drawer and handed her a black card. Use this for your comfort. Food, clothes, medical checkups. Don't argue. Amara stared at it like it was radioactive. Sir, I only need what we agreed on. The rest is too much. It's part of the care, he insisted. She placed it back on the table. Then consider it return care. I don't want to owe more than I already do. Her voice was steady, not stubborn, just proud. Min Jae leaned back, watching her. Most people would take advantage. I'm not most people, she said simply. I prefer sleeping with peace, not guilt. The words cut through him like quiet truth. He nodded once. You'll go for tests tomorrow. I'll send a driver. Amara rose, smoothing her dress. Thank you, Min Jae SSI, for everything. As she reached the door, he said softly, Do you regret it already? She turned halfway, eyes bright but firm. No. I just hope you won't. Outside, she inhaled sharply. The night air was cool, wrapping her like relief and fear mixed together. She whispered, Marilyn, you're going to walk again. That's all that matters. In the suite, Min Jae sat alone, staring at the contract on the table. He touched the spot where her fingers had pressed the paper. For reasons he couldn't explain, his chest tightened. She signed to save someone else, he murmured. And I made her break herself to do it. His phone vibrated. Dr. Kim, the physical reaction you described confirms improvement. Whatever triggered it seems psychological. He typed back. It wasn't psychological. It was her. And for the first time in years, Han Min-jae felt human again. The following night arrived faster than Amara wanted. She had spent the entire day cleaning, pacing, and pretending she wasn't terrified. Marilyn had called from the hospital after her first round of therapy. "Yinny, the doctor said my legs are improving already." Amara smiled through the phone. "That's wonderful. Keep being strong for me, okay?" "Always," Marilyn said softly. "And you, stop worrying so much." After the call, Amara sat in silence. The money had gone through. The hospital bills were cleared. Her sister was safe, but her peace was gone. At exactly 8 o'clock, a car pulled up outside her building. The driver bowed politely. "Ms. Okafor, Mr. Han sent me." Her throat felt tight. "Thank you." She wore a modest ivory dress and carried nothing but her ID and courage. The ride was quiet. She stared at her hands and whispered prayers into the silence. When the car stopped, she stepped out into the glowing entrance of the Grand Myrie Hotel again. This time, her heart didn't tremble, it pounded. Min-jae was waiting at the suite door, dressed simply in a gray shirt and black trousers. No cameras, no assistants, just him. "You came," he said quietly. "I always keep agreements," she replied. Her voice didn't shake. He smiled faintly. "So do I." The suite was the same. Dim light, soft music, the faint scent of lilies. On the table sat 2 glasses of water. He poured one for her, his movements careful, respectful. "Drink first," he said. She accepted it, whispering, "Thank you." There was a pause. Then Min-jae asked, "Are you scared?" "Of what?" she asked lightly. "The contract or the man?" He chuckled softly. "Both, maybe." Amara's lips curved slightly. "I'm only scared of doing this without dignity. I came here because I gave my word." He stepped closer, his expression softening. "You have more courage than anyone I've met." Her breath caught, but she kept her gaze steady. "Please, Min-jae, don't make this harder than it already is." He nodded once. "I'll be gentle." That night passed like silence and heartbeat mixed together. No words, only emotion, tension, and a strange kind of warmth neither of them expected. It wasn't lust. It was something human, tender and frighteningly real. When Amara finally lay beside him hours later, her eyes stayed open. The ceiling blurred. "For Marilyn," she whispered in her heart. "Always for Marilyn." Min-jae's arm brushed against her. Even half asleep, he murmured, "You don't have to be strong alone." She turned slightly toward him, her voice small but honest. "Then let's both pretend we're not broken tonight." The city outside slept, but inside that quiet hotel room, 2 strangers signed another kind of contract, one written in trust, pain, and a softness neither had bargained for. Morning light slipped quietly through the curtains. Amara opened her eyes and froze. Han Min-jae's arm rested across her waist, heavy and warm, his breathing calm beside her. Her heartbeat stumbled into a sprint. She gently lifted his hand and sat up slowly, eyes darting everywhere but him. "Focus, Amara. You signed a deal, not a destiny." She wrapped the blanket around herself and tiptoed toward the small sitting area. Her phone blinked, bank alert, payment confirmed. Her sister's surgery was officially secured. Relief hit her, so hard she had to sit down. "Thank you, God," she whispered, tears spilling silently. A soft voice came from behind. "You're awake." She turned quickly. Min-jae stood near the window, hair tousled, shirt unbuttoned at the collar, looking nothing like a global celebrity, just a man who hadn't slept much. "Yes, sir," she replied automatically. He raised an eyebrow. "We already agreed." "Min-jae." She exhaled. Old habits die slowly. He smiled faintly and handed her a small black card. "Here. Use this for anything you need. Clothes, food, care. It has no limit." Amara blinked at it, then shook her head. "No, sir. I mean Min-jae. I don't need it." "You will be carrying my future child," he said simply. "You'll need comfort. I only need what was agreed on. I don't want extra gifts." "It's not a gift." "Then it's debt," she said softly. "And I can't afford to owe anyone my peace." Her tone was gentle, but her pride stood like iron. Min-jae studied her silently. "You're different," he murmured. "Most people grab everything I offer." Amara gave a small, respectful smile. That's why you called me back, isn't it? You wanted someone who wouldn't. He chuckled under his breath. You're honest to a fault. She tilted her head. You say that like it's a disease. Maybe it's rare, he replied. When she prepared to leave, Min-jae reached for her wrist, hesitating. Do you regret this? Amara turned slightly. Her eyes softened, tired but proud. No. Regret belongs to people who had better options. He nodded slowly. I'll arrange your first checkup tomorrow. Thank you, Min-jae, she said. I'll see myself out. She stepped into the hallway, breathing deeply. Every step away from that room felt heavier, like her body had left but her thoughts hadn't followed. Still, her purpose was clear. Marilyn's life first. Inside, Min-jae sat back on the couch, rubbing his temple. His phone buzzed. Dr. Kim, your test results confirm improvement. Physical response normal. He stared at the screen. Normal. He hadn't felt normal in years. He whispered to himself. It wasn't the medicine. It was her. That morning, both of them walked away thinking the same thing. This wasn't supposed to mean anything. So why did it already feel like everything? Han Min-jae sat in his car long after Amara left, watching the city wake. He should have felt relieved. The deal was done, his condition finally improving, but all he could think about was her voice when she said, I can't afford to owe anyone my peace. No one had ever refused him with such grace. He drove to the clinic for his follow-up appointment. The doctor scanned the reports, smiling. Mr. Han, this is remarkable. Your vitals are back to normal. Whatever triggered this change, keep it. Min-jae gave a small laugh. That's the problem. What triggered it isn't something I can keep. The doctor leaned back. Meaning? She's a woman who signed a contract and already feels too far from me. The doctor grinned. Welcome to being human. You've just discovered desire mixed with conscience. He left the clinic with no answers, just a restless ache. For years he had been a man people admired from a distance. Now he wanted something simple, someone who looked him in the eye without fear or flattery. Across town, Amara was mopping the floor of the cafe when her phone rang. Yinny! Marilyn's voice beamed through the speaker. The surgery went perfectly. I can already feel my toes. Amara covered her mouth, tears spilling. Oh, thank God. Marilyn laughed softly. You sound tired. You okay? Just working hard. I'll visit tomorrow. Love you, Marilyn said. More, Amara whispered and hung up, wiping her face quickly before her manager noticed. During break, she sat outside on the steps, sipping water. The city felt lighter now. Her sister would walk again. That was enough. Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Did she get the surgery? She frowned, typing back cautiously. Yes. Who's this? Min-jae. Her lips curved slightly despite herself. She's recovering well. Thank you again, sir. I told you, Min-jae. And you don't owe me thanks. Just promise to rest. Amara typed, rest is for rich people. He replied almost instantly. Then I'll teach you how. She laughed quietly, shaking her head. You're impossible. Maybe. But I'd like to see you again. Her fingers froze. She stared at the message until her shift ended, then locked the phone in her bag. Feelings weren't part of the deal. That night, Min-jae replayed their messages, smiling like a boy. His assistant knocked gently. Sir, practice schedule for tomorrow? Cancel it, he said. Tell the team I need one day off. He didn't explain why, but he already knew where he'd be tomorrow, standing outside a small cafe, hoping the woman who changed his life still smiled at him the same way she did before the contract. 2 weeks passed before Amara noticed something was off. At first, it was small things. The smell of coffee made her dizzy, and she started crying during a soap commercial about laundry. Then her skirt felt tighter, and exhaustion clung to her bones. She ignored it until one morning, when her coworker joked, Amara, you're glowing. Are you in love, or just getting fat? She laughed too loudly. Must be the cafe air. But later, while wiping a table, she froze mid-motion. Her phone calendar blinked a quiet reminder, 2 weeks late. Her hands trembled. No, it can't be this fast. She slipped into the restroom, locked the door, and whispered, Dear Lord, please tell me this glow is from moisturizer. That evening, she bought a test kit from a small pharmacy tucked between fruit stalls. The cashier smiled. Congratulations in advance. Amara forced a polite grin. Or condolences. At home, she sat on the edge of her bed, the test kit on the table, her heart thundering. Marilyn was asleep, soft breathing filling the quiet room. Amara clasped her hands. If this is your plan, God, give me strength to follow it. Minutes later, the 2 pink lines appeared, clear, undeniable. She pressed a hand to her stomach, whispering shakily, So you're really here. A laugh bubbled out of her, half joy, half fear. You didn't even let me rest. Small human. You've got your father's timing. Across the city, Min Jae stood before a swarm of cameras at a charity event, jaw tight, smile polite. Reporters fired questions about his fiancée, Jennifer Ray, the model everyone thought he loved. Mr. Han, when's the wedding? One asked. He forced a grin. We'll see. Jennifer, standing beside him, wrapped her arm through his and posed perfectly. Soon, she said sweetly, her eyes daring him to contradict her. Later, in the car, she hissed. Smile next time. My sponsors are watching. Min Jae's tone stayed even. Your sponsors, not mine. Jennifer glared. You think your team survives without my family's funding? I think I'll survive without pretending, he said, voice calm but final. He dropped her off and drove aimlessly through Seoul, headlights carving through mist. His phone buzzed, an unsaved number. It's me, the message read. Amara. His chest tightened. He parked instantly. Are you okay? He typed. Yes, she replied. But I need to see you. It's important. Tell me when and where. She hesitated before sending. Tomorrow. Hanyuri Clinic. 10 a.m. He stared at the message until the screen dimmed. His pulse quickened, and for the first time in weeks, he smiled like a man who just found something worth losing everything for. The next morning, Amara stood outside Hanyuri Clinic, one hand pressed against her chest, the other holding her file. Her heart was sprinting, but her steps were calm. You're not doing anything wrong, she told herself. You're just confirming a miracle. Inside, she greeted the nurse politely. Good morning. Appointment for Okafor Amara, please. The nurse smiled warmly. You can wait in room 3. Congratulations in advance. Amara gave a nervous laugh. Let's wait for confirmation first. I might just be blessed with late hormones. Minutes stretched until the doctor walked in, holding her chart. Well, Miss Okafor, he said kindly, you're pregnant. About 5 weeks along. Amara's breath caught. 5. He nodded. Everything looks healthy. We'll schedule regular scans. Congratulations. She bowed deeply. Thank you, doctor. As she stepped out, the hall buzzed with chatter. 2 nurses whispered near the reception. Did you hear? Han Min Jae's fiancée is on this floor. Jennifer Ray, the model. Really? The one from the scandal last week. Yes. She's here for a follow-up. Poor thing. She tried to harm herself. Amara froze mid-step. Fiancé. The words burned through her like acid. She forced herself to walk out with dignity. That's none of my business. The deal was money, not emotion. But her mind betrayed her with flashbacks of his gentle smile, the way he'd said, You don't have to be strong alone. She shook it off, whispering, Focus, Amara. This baby doesn't need drama. Just peace. Outside the clinic, the sun felt too bright. She bought a small cup of hot chocolate and held it like a lifeline. For a few seconds, she allowed herself to smile. So, little one, you're real. And we're going to be fine. Across town, Min Jae sat in a board meeting he wasn't listening to. His phone buzzed on the table, appointment done. It's confirmed. He nearly smiled out loud. Under the table, he typed, How are you feeling? Amara's reply came minutes later, scared, but strong, like someone who just jumped off a cliff with faith instead of wings. He chuckled quietly. Then I'll be the ground that catches you. Her next text ended it simply, Don't. Just be happy you got what you wanted. Before he could reply, his agent entered with a tabloid in hand. Bad news. Jennifer's PR team announced the wedding date. Min Jae frowned. Without me. Yes. Press release says you and Jennifer are finalizing arrangements. You need to address it soon. He stood abruptly. Or maybe I need to end it. That evening, Amara tucked her test result under her pillow. Marilyn asked sleepily, Yinny, what's making you smile like that? Amara touched her stomach lightly. Just something small and brave. Like you. And for the first time, she whispered to her unborn child, you'll never know fear. Not while I'm breathing. The cafe was unusually busy that night. Amara worked quietly behind the counter, her sleek bun slightly loose from the heat, her movements careful. Every smell made her dizzy now, coffee, soap, even air freshener. She hid it well, forcing a smile for every customer. It had been 3 weeks since she last saw Minjae. She hadn't told him about the pregnancy. She convinced herself it was better that way. He belongs to a different world, she reminded herself. I just borrowed a moment from it. By 9 p.m., only a few tables were left. 3 men stumbled in, loud and half drunk. Pretty girl, one called, slapping the counter. Bring us soju and smile while you do it. Amara forced a polite nod. Sorry, sir, we don't serve alcohol here. Coffee. They laughed. Coffee. Who drinks that at night? Come sit with us. Just for a minute. She stepped back. Please don't make a scene. There are other customers. One reached for her wrist. Don't act shy. You like attention, right? Amara's heart raced. Let go, please. Her tone stayed firm but respectful. Sir, you're hurting me. The man tightened his grip, smirking. Then say sorry properly. Before she could react, a hand grabbed his shoulder. She said let go. The voice was deep, calm, and dangerous. The man turned, ready to snap, then froze. Han Minjae. Even drunk, they recognized the face from every billboard in Seoul. Minjae's expression didn't waver. Apologize and leave. They muttered curses but backed away, stumbling out into the night. Amara stood frozen, rubbing her wrist. You shouldn't be here, she said softly. I was nearby, he replied, voice low. I wanted to see you. She swallowed hard. You could have just called. You don't answer my calls. Maybe that's a sign. He sighed. You're pale. Are you eating properly? She gave a faint laugh. You sound like a doctor. Then take it as advice. His eyes softened. You shouldn't be standing this late. You're not alone anymore. Her smile vanished. What do you mean? He hesitated, studying her face. I can tell. You're pregnant, aren't you? Amara froze. The silence said everything. He stepped closer. How long? 5 weeks, she whispered. He exhaled sharply, a smile flickering through disbelief. I'm going to be a father. Don't say that so loud, she hissed, glancing around. This isn't a K-drama reveal. He chuckled softly. You're impossible. She turned away, voice trembling but polite. Congratulations, Mr. Han. Your contract worked. His expression fell. Amara! Please, she cut in gently. Don't make this harder. Let's both pretend it's simple. He watched her walk back behind the counter, head high, eyes bright with unshed tears. And for the first time in his life, Han Minjae realized that winning wasn't always victory. Sometimes, it was learning when to stay. Rain started just as Amara closed the cafe. The street shimmered with reflections of neon signs. She grabbed her umbrella, but Minjae was still waiting outside, leaning against his car. His shirt was damp, hair slightly wet, but his expression stayed calm. You didn't have to wait, she said quietly. I wasn't sure you'd let me see you again, he replied. You were right. She opened the umbrella and began walking. Good night, Minjae SSI. He caught up in 2 long strides. At least let me drive you home. No need. I'm used to walking in the rain. He smiled faintly. You're always saying you're used to things that hurt. Amara stopped. That's not fair. It's true, he said softly. You carry the world like it's nothing. But you're shaking. She looked away. Please, don't pity me. You paid for this. The baby, the contract. Everything is already written. You don't owe me anything else. He stepped closer, voice low but steady. I'm not here because of a contract. I'm here because I care. Her chest tightened. Care leads to mistakes. People like you can't afford those. You have a fiancé, remember? His jaw flexed. That engagement was forced. I haven't loved Jennifer in years. Maybe I never did. Amara's tone stayed respectful, almost calm. Then end it before you talk about caring for someone else. I won't be a headline or a scandal. The rain thickened between them. For a moment, neither moved. Then Min-jae reached into his pocket and pulled out a handkerchief, offering it silently. She didn't take it. "If you keep showing up like this," she whispered, "people will think we're more than what we are." He smiled gently. "Maybe I want them to." Her voice trembled. "You don't. Trust me." A car horn blared nearby, breaking the tension. She sighed. "I need to go. My sister's waiting." He nodded slowly. "I'll drive behind you, just to make sure you get home safe." "Stubborn," she murmured. "Always," he said with a faint grin. They walked separately, a careful distance apart. When she reached her gate, she turned. "Thank you, Min-jae, for the ride I didn't accept." He chuckled softly. "You're welcome for the safety you didn't ask for." Her smile was tired but genuine. "Good night." "Good night, Amara." He waited until her lights came on before driving off. Inside, Amara leaned against the door, heart pounding. She whispered to her belly, "We can't afford to feel anything, little one." Feelings were never in the contract. Outside, Min-jae rolled down his window and looked up at the faint glow of her apartment. "You can write 1,000 contracts," he murmured, "but you can't control a heartbeat." By morning, Amara's quiet life unraveled faster than she could pray. She was on her way to work when her phone began to buzz endlessly. Unknown numbers, blocked calls, messages she didn't dare open. At the cafe door, her manager met her with a pale face. "Amara, maybe you should go home." "Why?" she asked cautiously. He turned his tablet toward her. A tabloid headline screamed, "Han Min-jae's mystery mistress pregnant, surrogate or secret lover." Amara froze. Beneath the headline was her picture, taken from the clinic parking lot, her hand unconsciously resting on her stomach. Her manager lowered his voice. "They're camped outside. Go through the back door." She nodded numbly, holding herself together. "Thank you, sir." Outside, flashing cameras and shouted questions cut through the air. "Miss Okafor, did you seduce Han Min-jae? Are you carrying his baby? Did he pay you to disappear?" Amara shielded her face, voice calm but trembling. "Please move aside." "They didn't." A reporter shoved a mic close. "What do you have to say about ruining his engagement?" Her composure cracked. "I didn't ruin anything." "I'm not." "Enough." A voice thundered. The crowd turned. Min-jae stepped out of a black car, face unreadable, jaw set. Cameras flashed like lightning. He moved through them, grabbed Amara's hand, and pulled her gently behind him. "Back off," he warned, his tone icy calm. "No more questions." Someone shouted, "Are you confirming the affair?" He met the cameras squarely. "I'm confirming she deserves respect." He opened the car door for her, ignoring the chaos. Amara whispered urgently, "What are you doing?" "They'll twist this." "They already did," he said softly. "Let me protect what's left." Inside the car, silence pressed against the glass. Amara stared at her reflection in the window, her eyes glistening. "You shouldn't have done that." "I had to," he replied. "You're carrying my child." "I was carrying your contract," she corrected gently. "Now I'm carrying your scandal." He turned toward her, voice heavy. "I'll fix this." "Can you fix a broken name?" "A reputation I didn't even build," she asked quietly. He didn't answer. When they reached her apartment, she opened the door without looking back. "Thank you, Min-jae. Please don't come again. I can handle this." "Handle it how?" "Alone." She smiled sadly. "That's what I do best." He watched her disappear inside, her posture unshaken even as tears slid down her cheeks. Outside, reporters shouted her name from a distance. Inside, she sank to the floor, hand over her belly. "I'm sorry, little one," she whispered. "Your father's world is too loud for us." That night, the city was quiet, but Amara's mind roared. Her small apartment felt smaller than ever. Every ping from her phone was another rumor, some calling her a gold digger, others calling her brave. None of them knew her truth. She shut the phone off and whispered to her belly, "Don't listen to the noise. You're innocent." A knock came at the door. For a second, she froze. Then a voice said softly, "It's me." Amara opened the door halfway. Han Min-jae stood there, cap low, rain still clinging to his jacket. "You shouldn't be here," she said quietly. "I know," he replied, "but I had to see you." "For what?" More headlines? She asked, still calm but guarded. He stepped closer. No. To apologize. I didn't protect you soon enough. Her laugh was small and sad. Protect me? You brought the storm. He winced but didn't move. Then let me stand in it with you. Don't, she said gently. You'll only drown. He hesitated, then whispered, You're angry. You should be. I'm not angry, she said. Just realistic. You and I were a deal. You paid, I agreed. The rest was human error. Her words hit him harder than she knew. Is that really how you see it? Amara's voice stayed respectful but firm. It's how it was written. What about what wasn't written? He asked. The part where I can't stop thinking about you? Where I feel like you're the only person who's ever looked at me and seen a man instead of a brand. She swallowed hard, eyes bright. That wasn't part of the agreement either. He took a step forward, but she lifted a hand. Stop. Please. Don't make me forget why I said yes in the first place. Why did you? He asked softly. She smiled faintly. Because my sister needed to walk again. And because I thought you were too distant to get close enough to hurt me. For the first time, his composure cracked. Amara, She shook her head. Don't. We can't undo this, and we shouldn't try. The best thing you can do is leave me my peace. I've already traded everything else. He looked at her one last time, memorizing the quiet strength in her eyes. You deserve more than peace, he said finally. You deserve happiness. I'll find it, she whispered. Just not here. When she closed the door, her knees gave out. She slid down slowly, clutching her stomach as tears finally fell. It's okay, baby, she murmured. We'll build our own peace. Outside, Min-jae stood in the rain, staring at her closed door until the city swallowed him. His world had taught him to win, but with Amara, he learned what loss truly felt like. 3 days passed before Amara gathered the courage to step outside again. The city had calmed a little, though her name still lingered in gossip columns. She moved quietly, hat pulled low, every step careful. Her stomach had begun to swell, just enough to remind her that her life was no longer her own. She stopped by the hospital to check on Marilyn, who was improving quickly. Yinny! Marilyn beamed as soon as she saw her. You look different. Softer. Happy even. Amara laughed nervously. Do I? Yes. And, wait, you've been glowing for days now. What's going on? Just gratitude, Amara replied, brushing her sister's hair. You're healing. That's all I ever wanted. Marilyn smiled, but her eyes lingered on her sister's stomach. You're eating well, right? I'm trying. A knock interrupted them. Miss Okafor, a nurse called softly. Dr. Lee needs you to sign a few forms. Amara nodded and followed her out. She signed the discharge papers and turned to leave, then froze. At the far end of the corridor, Jennifer Ray stood in oversized sunglasses and a designer coat, talking to a nurse. Even under the disguise, her face was unmistakable. Amara stepped back instinctively. Jennifer turned at the same moment. Their eyes met. For a heartbeat, silence stretched between them, two worlds colliding. Jennifer's lips curved into a cold smile. She sauntered closer, voice smooth like silk dipped in poison. You must be the famous Miss Okafor. Amara bowed politely. Good afternoon. Jennifer tilted her head. Afternoon. How modest. I expected someone more ambitious. Amara's tone stayed even. Respect doesn't cost anything. I prefer to afford it. Jennifer chuckled softly. Cute. Tell me, how does it feel carrying something that doesn't belong to you? Amara's gaze didn't flinch. A child isn't property, Miss Ray. It's a life. Jennifer's smile faltered for a moment, then returned sharper. Enjoy your little miracle while it lasts. Because when Min-jae realizes what he's risking, he'll come back where he belongs. Amara bowed again, voice steady. Then you have nothing to worry about. She turned and walked away, her posture tall and unbending. But once she reached the stairwell, her breath caught, her hand instinctively resting on her belly. You heard her, she whispered. We'll stay quiet, okay? No matter who tries to shake us. Back in her car, Jennifer's assistant asked, Ma'am, should I prepare a statement? Jennifer removed her sunglasses, eyes burning. Not yet. I have a better plan. Meanwhile, across the city, Min-jae sat in a silent boardroom, staring at his phone. No messages. No word from her. He muttered to himself, "You said you'd handle it alone, Amara. But I'm done watching you fight the world without me." The weekend market in Gangnam buzzed with laughter and the smell of roasted chestnuts. Amara rarely came here, but Marilyn insisted she get some fresh air. "You've been hiding like a ghost," her sister scolded gently. "You need sunlight, Yuni. And sugar." Amara chuckled, pulling her cap lower. "Fine. But if anyone recognizes me, you're buying me sunglasses and a new identity." Marilyn grinned. "Deal." For a while, everything felt normal. They sampled spicy rice cakes, browsed fabrics, and even took a silly photo together. Amara laughed freely for the first time in weeks. But as fate would have it, peace never stayed long. A familiar voice called her name softly from behind. "Amara!" She turned and froze. Han Min-jae stood just a few feet away, dressed simply in a hoodie and baseball cap, but his presence still pulled the air taut. People glanced at him, some whispering, recognizing the face even behind the disguise. Marilyn's eyes widened. "Wait, is that?" "Go ahead, Marilyn." Amara cut in quietly. "Get more snacks. I'll join you." Her sister hesitated, sensing the tension, then nodded and left. When they were alone, Amara crossed her arms lightly. "You shouldn't be here." "I was looking for you," Min-jae admitted. "You disappeared. No calls, no messages. You told me to stay safe." "I did. I told you I'd protect you." "I didn't ask for that," she replied softly. He stepped closer, voice low. "You think distance will protect you? The press already knows. Jennifer knows. My world is already burning. You might as well let me stand beside you." Amara's tone was gentle but firm. "Min-jae Sasai, you don't get to play hero now. You had a whole empire to protect before I came along. I'm not here to ruin what's left of it." He sighed, eyes heavy. "You're not ruining anything. You're the only thing that feels right." Her throat tightened, but she forced a small laugh. "You really need a new hobby. Obsession doesn't look good on you." He smiled faintly. "Neither does denial on you." Before she could answer, flashes erupted nearby. Paparazzi, fast and ruthless. Someone shouted, "There they are! Han Min-jae and the mystery woman." Amara froze. "No, no, no." He grabbed her hand instantly. "Come on." They ran through the crowd, dodging cameras and gasps, until they ducked into a narrow alley behind the market. Pressed against the wall, breathing hard, Amara whispered, "This is exactly what I wanted to avoid." "I know," he said quietly, still holding her hand. "But maybe some things aren't meant to stay hidden." Their eyes met, inches apart, rain beginning to fall again. Soft, uninvited, but somehow fitting. She exhaled shakily. "You never learn." He smiled through his breath. "Not when it comes to you." The alley was quiet except for their breathing. Raindrops slid down Amara's cheeks. Mixing with confusion, she refused to show. Min-jae still held her hand, his grip gentle but unrelenting. "You're trembling," he said softly. She pulled away. "Because this shouldn't be happening. You and I shouldn't even be seen together." He took a step closer. "You're right, but I'm tired of doing what I should." Amara turned her face away. "You think rebellion looks romantic. It doesn't. It looks reckless." He gave a small smile. "Then call me reckless." She sighed. "No, I'll call you human. And right now, that's the one thing you can't afford to be." For a moment, they just stood there, two people caught between worlds that didn't want them to meet. Rain soaked through their clothes, but neither moved. Finally, Amara spoke quietly. "Go back before someone finds us again." Min-jae didn't move. "Amara, listen to me. Jennifer's engagement deal is over." "I ended it." She blinked, startled. "You what?" "I told the sponsors and the press it was done. I'd rather lose everything than live a lie." Her lips parted in disbelief. "You can't just destroy your career because of me." He shook his head. "Not because of you. Because I finally know what matters." Amara's heart stung at the sincerity in his voice. She wanted to believe him, but she'd lived long enough to know that emotions fade faster than promises. "You'll regret it," she whispered. "When the noise gets louder, you'll wish you stayed silent." "Then I'll regret it with you," he said simply. Her breath caught. "You don't even realize what you're saying." I do, he replied. You and this child, you're my truth now. Everything else is background noise. Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them back. Stop talking like that, Min-jae. You're making this harder. He reached out, fingertips brushing her wrist. You can't keep pushing me away forever. I can try, she whispered. The sound of footsteps echoed from the street, paparazzi voices calling his name again. He cursed under his breath. Come with me, he said. Amara shook her head. No. If they see me again, it'll only get worse. I don't care about them. I do, she said firmly. Because I don't want this baby growing up in chaos. For a second, they just stared at each other through the falling rain. Love on one side, fear on the other. Then Amara took a step back. Please, go before they catch up. He hesitated. You'll call me. She smiled faintly. If I find peace before you do. He gave a small, heartbroken laugh. Then I guess I'll never stop waiting. Days turned into quiet weeks. The media storm began to fade, though whispers still followed Amara wherever she went. She returned to work at the cafe, blending back into routine, serving coffee with her practice calm. But even calm had limits. That morning, a woman in a sleek black coat entered the cafe. Sunglasses, red lipstick, polished arrogance. Amara's stomach tightened immediately. Jennifer Ray. The cafe fell silent as she approached the counter, heels clicking like clockwork. Caramel latte, Jennifer said, then leaned forward with a soft smile. No caramel, just bitterness. Amara met her gaze, polite but unwavering. One plain latte coming up. You're very composed, Jennifer said, taking off her glasses. I expected trembling. I save that for thunderstorms, Amara replied calmly. Jennifer smirked. How bold. I see why he was fascinated. Amara didn't flinch. Miss Ray, I don't wish you harm. What happened between Min-jae and me wasn't meant to humiliate you. Jennifer's eyes hardened. Oh, you think this is about humiliation? No, darling. This is about control. You have something that belongs to me. Amara's tone softened, steady. If you mean Min-jae, he's not an object. If you mean the baby, that child belongs to no one but God. Jennifer laughed quietly. How noble! You're a beautiful woman, Miss Okafor. But you're naive if you think this ends with faith and kindness. I can destroy you without lifting a finger. Amara's lips trembled, but her voice didn't. Then do it. But I won't beg you to stop. I've already fought bigger battles. Jennifer leaned closer, whispering. And when your precious child is born, I'll make sure the world questions who the real mother is. Amara's hand froze mid-wipe on the counter. Leave my baby out of this. Oh, but that's the only thing tying you to him, Jennifer said sweetly. Cut that tie, and you disappear like smoke. Before Amara could reply, the cafe door opened. Min-jae walked in, unannounced, uninvited, eyes blazing. Jennifer, he said sharply. Enough! Her smirk faltered, but she recovered. Ah, the knight himself, defending his damsel. He stepped closer. If you ever threaten her again, I'll end whatever career you're still pretending to have. Jennifer's jaw tightened, but she turned gracefully, slipping her glasses back on. You'll regret this, both of you. When she left, the silence she left behind was louder than any insult. Amara's hands trembled as she steadied a cup on the counter. Min-jae reached out, covering her hand with his. I told you before, he said quietly. You're not alone in this. Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them away. You can't protect me from every storm. He held her gaze. Then I'll stand in the rain with you. By the next morning, Jennifer's threat had turned into headlines. Every major news outlet carried a new story. Han Min-jae confirms relationship with Surrogate. Engagement to Jennifer Ray called off. Amara's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Her cafe manager tried to smile, but worry painted his face. Amara, the cameras are already gathering outside again. You should go home before it gets worse. She nodded, heart pounding. Thank you. I'll leave through the back. When she stepped outside, a sleek black car was waiting. Min-jae stepped out, wearing a gray suit and dark glasses. Get in, he said quietly. Amara hesitated. I told you. This isn't about us, he interrupted gently. It's about ending this once and for all. She finally entered, and they drove through the city in silence. Every billboard they passed felt like a reminder of the storm they were trapped in. "Where are we going?" she asked. "To face them," he replied. Minutes later, they pulled into a press hall. Cameras, lights, whispers. Amara froze. "Min-jae, no. I can't." He turned to her, voice calm but firm. "You can. You didn't do anything wrong." Her lips trembled. "But the world doesn't care about that." "Then let them hear it from me." When he stepped on stage, the reporters erupted. "Mr. Han, is it true you ended your engagement? Is the woman here with you your surrogate? Are you romantically involved?" He raised a hand, silencing them. "Yes," he said clearly. "Jennifer Ray and I are no longer engaged. And yes, Amara Okafor is carrying my child." The hall exploded in shouts and camera flashes. Amara stood frozen backstage, clutching her stomach. She could barely breathe. Min-jae continued, voice steady but charged. "She is not a scandal. She is not a secret. She is the bravest woman I have ever met. What she's doing is an act of courage, not shame." Someone shouted, "Are you admitting she's more than a surrogate?" He paused, eyes finding Amara in the shadows. "Yes. She's family." The hall fell into stunned silence. Reporters scrambled for quotes. Amara felt her legs weaken. "What have you done?" she whispered when he came backstage. "Protected you," he said simply. "Now no one can use your name to hurt you." She shook her head. "You just made me the most hated woman in Seoul." He smiled softly. "Then I'll spend the rest of my life making you the most respected one." For the first time, she didn't know whether to cry or believe him. But when he reached out his hand, she took it, hesitant, trembling, and entirely human. The press conference changed everything. By the next day, Min-jae's sponsors were withdrawing deals faster than his phone could ring. Major networks replayed his words, dissecting them, calling him reckless, romantic, ruined. But he didn't flinch. For the first time in years, he felt free. Amara, however, paid a heavier price. The cafe let her go politely. "It's not personal," the manager said gently, eyes down. "We just can't handle the crowd outside." She smiled faintly. "I understand." Outside, reporters still hovered near her gate, shouting questions she never answered. Each night, she sat by the window, holding her belly and whispering, "We'll be okay. We have to be." One evening, a knock came at the door. She froze again, but it wasn't the press this time. It was Min-jae. No suit, no security, just him, tired but smiling. "Can I come in?" "You shouldn't be here," she said softly. "I lost half my endorsements today," he said, stepping closer. "So at least let me lose with dignity." Amara crossed her arms, though her eyes softened. "You sacrifice too much." He shrugged lightly. "Money comes back. People come back. But truth? Once you lose that, it's gone." She sighed. "You think truth feeds a baby?" He grinned. "No, but I do." Her lips twitched despite herself. "You really have no idea how to stop, do you? Not when it comes to you." They sat down together for the first time in weeks. The air between them was quieter now, no longer fueled by fear but by exhaustion and something deeper, trust. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked suddenly. "What?" "The contract. The night. Everything that followed." He looked at her for a long moment before replying. "I regret that I made you think it was just business." She looked away, tears glimmering. "That's not fair." "It's honest." There was silence again. Amara finally whispered, "I'm scared, Min-jae. I'm not strong all the time." He smiled gently. "Good. Then you're human. And I'll be strong enough for both of us when you can't be." Her throat tightened. "You can't promise that." He nodded. "You're right. But I'll try every day anyway." For the first time, she didn't argue. She simply leaned back against the couch, hand resting over his. The world outside could keep spinning with its noise and rumors. In that small apartment, two imperfect souls found something that felt more real than any perfection fame could buy. And as she drifted to sleep beside him, Min-jae whispered quietly, "Let them say what they want. I'll make sure our child grows up knowing their parents chose courage over comfort." Peace never lasts long when jealousy is watching. The next morning, while Amara made breakfast, she heard her name again on television, this time with venom. Jennifer Ray stood before cameras, tears glistening like diamonds. "I only wish them happiness," she said dramatically. "But people forget. He and I were planning a family. And now, my life's been torn apart." The reporter's voice followed. Sources claim Miss Okafor seduced Han Min-jae to secure wealth and status. Amara turned off the TV slowly. "Seduce," she whispered. "That's their favorite word." Min-jae entered the room, tie undone, face tight with anger. "She's lying." "I know," Amara said quietly. "But the world doesn't." He sat beside her, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I'll sue her for defamation." Amara shook her head. "No. Fighting her makes her famous. Ignore her, and she fades." His jaw flexed. "I can't ignore someone who threatens you." Her calm cracked for a second. "I've lived with threats my whole life, Min-jae. I can handle words. What scares me are actions." He froze. "What do you mean?" Amara hesitated. "There's been a car outside all night. Same one. Dark windows. They never knock, never leave." He stood immediately. "I'll handle it. Please don't do anything reckless." He smiled grimly. "Reckless is my best subject." Later that day, Min-jae traced the car to one of Jennifer's private security men. He made a few calls, had the license plate flagged, and by evening, the car was gone. But the damage had already been done. Amara's peace was shattered. That night, she couldn't sleep. Every creak sounded like a threat. Every shadow looked like a face. She sat up, hands over her belly, whispering prayers. When Min-jae returned, he found her still awake, eyes glassy but defiant. "You should have told me sooner," he said softly. "I didn't want to add to your troubles." He crouched beside her, voice low but firm. "You are my trouble, Amara. The kind I'd choose 1,000 times." Tears escaped her eyes, silent but real. "You'll regret saying that one day." He smiled faintly. "Maybe. But not today." He took her hands and pressed them to his chest. "Do you feel that?" His heartbeat thudded strong beneath her palms. "That's how I'll protect you," he whispered. Steady and constant. For the first time in days, she leaned into him, allowing herself to rest. The storm outside Seoul's skyline roared, but inside that small apartment, she finally believed him. And as thunder rolled through the night, Min-jae vowed quietly, "If Jennifer wants war, I'll end it before it ever reaches you." The following week brought a stillness that felt almost sacred. The cameras had moved on. Jennifer's scandal had begun to crumble, and the world's noise finally drifted into silence. For the first time in months, Amara could breathe. She stood by the apartment window that morning, cradling her stomach, whispering softly, "You hear that, little one? That's peace, the kind we fought for." Min-jae entered quietly, holding 2 cups of tea. "Green or ginger?" She smiled. "You remembered." "I'm trying to be useful," he said, handing her the cup. "The least I can do while you do all the hard work." Amara laughed lightly, her tone teasing but soft. "You're learning humility late in life, Han Min-jae." He grinned. "Better late than never." They sat together on the couch, no words needed. The sunlight spilled across the room, catching dust motes like tiny blessings. Amara leaned her head against his shoulder, whispering, "It's strange. The world called us foolish. But this feels right." He looked at her, eyes gentle. "Let them call it whatever they want. You made me human again." She chuckled quietly. "You were always human. You just hid it behind fame." "And you hid your strength behind politeness," he replied. "But I see it now. You've been brave every second." A knock interrupted their quiet moment. Amara stood cautiously, but when she opened the door, she froze. Mrs. Han, Min-jae's mother, stood there, elegant and composed, holding a small wrapped box. "Mrs. Han," Amara said quickly, bowing deeply. "I didn't expect." "May I come in?" the woman asked. Her tone wasn't harsh, but it carried weight. Inside, she looked around the small apartment before meeting Amara's eyes. "I came to see the woman who faced the entire country with dignity." Amara swallowed. "Ma'am, I didn't mean to cause trouble." Mrs. Han lifted a hand. "You didn't. You reminded my son what integrity looks like." She placed the box on the table. "It's for the baby." Amara blinked, stunned. "Thank you, ma'am." Mrs. Han smiled faintly. "Raise the child with love, not fear." The world already has enough of that. Then she turned to her son. And you don't fail them. When she left, Amara sank onto the couch, laughing through tears. Did that really just happen? Minjae nodded slowly. She never approves easily. Then maybe we won, Amara whispered. He reached over, brushing a tear from her cheek. No, Amara. We survived. That's harder. That evening, as the sun dipped over Seoul, they stood on the balcony, his arm around her, her hand over their unborn child. No fame, no scandal, just two people who had walked through fire and found peace on the other side. Amara whispered, If this is the ending, it's a good one. Minjae smiled. No, it's just the beginning. Thank you so much for staying with us till the very end of the story. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear the lessons you learned and your thoughts on how we can continue improving to give you the very best. Here at Munlyt Stories, every tale is crafted with passion, care, and dedication. Our mission is simple: to entertain, inspire, and connect us all across cultures and hearts. So, keep the conversation alive in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. Till next time, we are Munlyt Stories, bringing you amazing tales that touch hearts and spark imaginations. Stay blessed, stay inspired. See you in the next story.